While she was in the changing room of a store trying on a pair of pants, she was talking on her cell phone, so she decided to call the salesperson to ask if she had another size, and accidentally her cell phone fell to the ground outside. As she couldn't leave without closing her pants, she returned to the locker room to get ready and left her cell phone outside. At that moment a boy arrives, sees how beautiful that cell phone is and takes it. A little later the girl leaves and sees that her cell phone is no longer there. However, a boy has one just like it. She then says, "Hey, my cell phone." She goes to him pulling the cell phone out of his hands, and when the boy turns to face her, he has his face all painted and a black cape on his head, which makes her scared and gives a scream. Right after that the boy also started screaming because he was scared by her reaction as she ran out of there with her cell phone in her hand. He tries to go after her to get the cell phone back, but she gets in the car and closes the door. He keeps knocking and screaming that he wants his cell phone, but she fearfully speeds up the car and he doesn't understand what happened, so that girl stole her cell phone. When he returns inside the store, the boy meets the boy who took the girl's cell phone while he was in the locker room. The boy's father says that the boy found the cell phone and hands it to him. The boy thanks him. Then his friend, who is also wearing a black cape and a mask on her face, arrives and apologizes for the delay. He begins to explain everything that happened and says that it was stolen. The friend, without understanding, asks, "What do you mean stolen?" "I can see the cell phone in his hand." He shows the screen and says it was that girl who took his cell phone. And when she asks, "Who?" he says he thinks the girl switched cell phones on purpose, just so they could get to know each other better. She just confirms and calls him into the store and sees some dresses. When the girl who exchanged the cell phones arrives home, she meets her fiancé, who asks what happened to make her look scared and if she's okay. She desperately replies, "A guy just stole my cell phone. Nobody hurt me, I was there in the store buying clothes, then my phone fell on the floor." The groom, without understanding, asks her to explain better, which she did. "I was in the locker room and my cell phone fell outside, and when I went to see it, it was no longer there." So he takes the cell phone out of her hand and sees a picture of a man. She tries to explain by saying that she thought this guy had stolen her, but when she went to repair it, she saw that she had been confused. He doesn't believe the story and starts saying that she's cheating on him with another man, and he kept fighting with her. "I should have known by now you're cheating on me with another man, look at his picture here." She tries to explain that that's not what he's thinking, but he doesn't let her explain and says that she's making him feel ashamed since everyone knows they are engaged. After saying these things, he tells her to go return the cell phone to her boyfriend. At home, while the boy is with a friend, he asks to borrow her cell phone and decides to call his cell phone that has the girl. She answers and he explains, "I'm the guy from the clothing store you changed your cell phone." She apologizes for the misunderstanding and explains that she was very nervous at that time. The guy, seeing that she got scared with the paint on his face, explains that he was coming from an event. He also says that he has her cell phone and if she accepts it, meet with him to resolve this misunderstanding. The girl is relieved and says that she is near the square next to the hospital. He replies that he lives nearby and is on his way to find her. After he hangs up the phone, he gets excited and asks his friend to help him take off his makeup quickly. She starts taking it off and he asks if she doesn't want to accompany him. She accepts. After an hour, they arrive at the square and find the girl on a bench. The friend says she is beautiful and wishes her good luck, so the boy goes to her with a potted plant. He approaches and sits next to her to deliver the flower and starts to sing a song about yellow flowers. But she says that flower was not necessary and that she just wants her cell phone back so she can leave. The guy says he wanted to get to know her better, and gets a little sad because he thought he was on a date. She again explains that she made the exchange by mistake and just wants her cell phone back. He asks if she's kidding, but she replies, "Look, man, I have a boyfriend, I'm engaged, and I'm in a hurry. Can you please return mine cell phone, please?" The guy says it's a shame, but doesn't seem to care much about it and asks if they can arrange another day to meet. in disbelief she asks if he's going crazy for asking that since she just said she is compromised. He gives up insisting and returns the cell phone. Seeing that he was sad, she apologizes for being rude and the boy, showing his friend who was close, says, "I thought you were the love of my life, but she was right." Laughing, the girl asks if his friend also knew the song about the yellow flowers. He replies, "Yes, she knows everything about me. She was the one who came up with the idea of all this, even the flowers. She is always helping me, and we are always together. We go to the cinema, restaurant, and end-of-year parties." The girl asks if they always do everything together, and he replies, "Yes, we are very good friends. We came here to the park together today." Seeing how he talks about his friend, the girl asks if he's blind because he can't see something so obvious, but he doesn't understand the reference and says he knows he needs to wear glasses, so the girl explains it better. "No, that's not it. You're blind because you are not seeing the great love of your life." The guy asks what she means by that, and she responds by pointing to his friend, "You haven't lost yet. Look at her. She came here with you. She had this whole idea, and she doesn't seem happy about it." Seeing that it's true, he says that she doesn't seem happy, but that she always accompanies him. At that moment her fiancé arrives, sees the two together talking, and says, before going to them, "I knew she was stalling me, and came up with this conversation that she lost her cell phone. I'm sure it was just to see him." He approaches and starts talking to her. "I knew you hadn't been robbed. It was just to see your little boyfriend and make a fool of myself. I might even be a joke among the boys in town." She desperately begins to explain that she was just there changing cell phones, and it's not a big deal. She was just giving advice to the boy, but the groom doesn't believe it and claims he was being betrayed. The boy asks her to calm down and says they were just talking. Not believing her fiancé starts screaming, "Calm down, she invented this story about changing the cell phone just so you could steal it from me, right?" The boy gets up and asks again, "Calm down or I'll make you calm down myself." From afar, the friends saw that they started to fight and went to help separate the two. The girl pushes her fiancé away and tells him to leave with her before things get worse. After the two leave, the boy thanks his friend for the help and for having saved him. She laughing says that she is used to it. He then takes the flowers and says, "It's been 10 years since I should have given these flowers, and not I gave you." She asks, "But weren't those flowers for that girl?" And he hands it to her and replies, "I was giving it to the wrong person." She thanks him by asking if it's really for her, and he says, "Of course it's for you, because that flower has a meaning, which is that I love you." She gets emotional and asks, "What a beautiful thing you said, but are you really sure about that?" He without hesitation replied that he can't live without her, he never did, and asks the question, "Do you want to date me?" Very happy that he finally noticed, she says yes, and they are off to a very special place.